Okay, time for a little tutorial, and I'm going to be showing you how to make one of these, a Pink Floyd style wall. And it is just as easy as it looks, but I'm going to take my time with this video because this is a beginner's tutorial, because I myself am pretty much a beginner. I'm not going to rush it, I'm not going to go through it too quickly. So let's open a new project. So yeah, when you open a new project, you are greeted by this little thing, this cube, and this is ideal for the first brick in our wall. Obviously though, we need to change the shape a little bit. So to do that, you just have to make sure it's selected and press S, then move your mouse. That's how you scale it. But we only want to widen it, so press Y. That means that it will only be transformed along the Y axis. And we want it to be twice as wide as it began, so press 2. That makes it twice as wide, it doubles the width. So press enter, and then there we have it, there's our first brick. So in order to build the wall nice and quickly, we're going to use some array modifiers. Now the modifiers are over here, see this tab. When I hover over it, modifier properties, that's what it says there. So you want to click on that one, and up here it says add modifier. You click on add modifier and then click on array. And so that's the array modifier. You can kind of see what it's doing. I'll make sure that I'm showing you, giving you a good demonstration of exactly what's happening. Yeah, so we have a number here, the count number. That's how many times it's going to appear. This value here is the spacing between each object, because if it's set to 1, then it'll look like they're all fused together basically. So that's pretty much what you need to know there. And we don't want it to be moving along the x-axis. That's what this value here is for, the x-axis. We're going to set that value to 0. So that means that all 5 of those objects are in the exact same place, which is why it looks like just 1 at the moment. We're going to go down to the y-axis here and change the value to 1.010. So the 0.010 is what gives us this little gap. We just want a tiny little gap. So yeah, I'm just making it a little bit more than 1, basically. And now we just want to type in the number of bricks. So this value is going to be, I'm going to make it 80. I want it to be 80 bricks long. Press enter, and there we go. So that's what the first array is going to control. I'm just going to minimize this one for clarity. If you click add modifier and go to array again, this will be our second array to build the next layer. So we have to do the same thing again. Change that value to 0. We don't need that one. We need to move down to this one, the Z axis. And the value here is going to be 1.020 this time. Because if I put in 1.010 like before, we wouldn't get this kind of equal spacing. We want to be mathematical here. But yeah, so that's the value that I would recommend for for the second array. Now it doesn't really look like a wall at the moment. It doesn't look like bricklayer. Clearly, what we need to do is shift the top row along a little bit, and we can do that by checking this box that says constant offset. And the controls here, they work just the same way. We want to go to the y-axis one and just type 1 in there. That's what that one is going to be. Yep, so that kind of looks like a brick wall. Now you might be thinking at this point, right, don't tell me, I know what happens next. We've got to increase the count number, right, because that will make the wall nice and tall. Well, here's the thing, if I increase the count number at this point, you'll get a kind of staircase effect. And that looks quite nice. The thing is though, me personally, I want it to have more of a vertical progression rather than a horizontal. So for the time being, I'm just going to make that one 2. That's the value that I'm going to have for the count number there. So I'm going to add a third array, so add modifier, array. And make that one 0 again. Make sure you do that for all of them. Z axis, this time 1.010 again, because we don't have to make that one 0.020. If you just follow what I'm doing, it does make sense when you think about it. I mean, I had to think, because it's to do with the fact that these cubes are not, the bricks are not cube shaped, is what I'm going to say. It doesn't matter. Now then, we can just, I want this to be 20 bricks high, and it's going to multiply it by 2, so 10. There we go. So that's pretty much how you make a brick wall. Pretty straightforward. And one last thing, because we've added 3 modifiers, and I think now we're ready to apply them to the object. Because at the moment, it's basically just using that first brick that we made, and these modifiers, they're not fused yet. You don't want to apply the bottom one first. I'll just show you what happens if I do that. It's best not to, because this happens. It kind of messes the whole thing up. So it makes a difference which order you apply them. So I would say apply them from the top to the bottom. That means that it will still look the way it does now. Apply the one at the top first, then this one, and they'll disappear each time, because now they're all fused to the object. So that means we can do more editing and treat it like a single surface. Right, so we're on to stage 2 now, and this one involves a lot of problem solving. I mean, it's not nothing too boring. So I'm going to introduce you now to materials. Oh, one thing I might just do is just rename that wall just for now. So material properties are down here. Another thing I want to rename is this, because what I like about Blender is you can keep everything very organized. So this is the material that we're starting off with. I'll just rename it. I'm going to call it Pink Floyd. Yeah, I just think it might be best to do that for this demonstration. So you have all these things you can add color and texture. If I pick a color, you'll notice that nothing actually happens to the wall at the moment, because we are in what's known as the solid view mode. The view modes are all up here. You get these little icons, and it's worth familiarizing yourself with what they are, what each of them mean. But what's a bit clearer is if you type Z, you get this pie menu, and they will have labels here. So we want the material preview, and it becomes a bit easier if you learn which one is which out of these icons. Then you just have to click those, like that's solid, that's material. I don't really want a green wall, but that's just a demonstration of what the base color does. So next to base color, there's this little yellow dot, and if I click on the yellow dot, you get all these other options now, and we're going to choose image texture. I want to put an image. I'm going to slap an image on that wall. So yeah, image texture. The wall will turn black because we haven't loaded an image in yet, so it's just telling you that it's empty at the moment. And you get the open option now for opening the image. So just find the image where you saved it. This one, this Pink Floyd design. There should be a link in the description so you can find the website where I downloaded it, because it is quite a specific image. It's quite hard to Google this one. It's not exactly the same as the album cover. I'll just zoom in so you can see what's happened. The image has been wrapped around every single one of those bricks. So why has it done that? We applied the modifiers. Well, here's the thing. Even though this wall is a single object, it's made up of lots of little meshes. That's what all those bricks are, they're meshes. And Blender doesn't yet know exactly what we want to do with the image. It's just assuming that we want to wrap them around every single mesh. So here's what you got to do. First of all, I need to show you what this tool up here does, this colourful thing here. It basically just snaps to different views. So that's the top view, that's the side view. And if you click on the X, you get the front view. And we want to have it nicely lined up. We want to make sure that it's all level. And then we just want to go to edit mode. So over here in this corner, you click on where it says object mode, switch it to edit mode, and it should all be highlighted. If it isn't for whatever reason, just hit A, and then that selects all. So yeah. Then you want to press U, and you get these UV mapping options here. And the one you want is project from view. So now we're on the right track. it now knows that we want to have the image spread across this big surface. But as you can see, it's overlapping a lot. You can't really see that much of this. So yeah, to fix that, we're going to go up here to this tab, UV editing. So you may have thought, okay, so do we have to make the image smaller? Well, no, we don't really have to do anything to the image because this is showing us the file right now. You can see this thing in front of it, that is the UV map. If you hover your mouse over it and press A or highlight it, and we just want to make that, we want to make it bigger so that it will actually cover those words that I want to put onto the wall. Press S to scale, move your mouse until you get it the size you want. So I'm just sort of lining it up so it's like that. It's a little bit low down, so I'll hit enter to OK that. And if you press G, that's G for grab, you can slide it up a little bit and get it as even as you want. Just look at how the design fits within the bounds here. Go to layout again. Now you will see that this image is tiled across this object. So yeah, that's a default setting. Looks pretty cool, I suppose. But if we go over to the material properties, we can see some other options. If you click on where it says repeat here, there's another one, extend. And I like this one because this one's quite seamless. You just get a nice, very pure bit of spacing on each side. And the other one is clip. If I go back there, clip is, it shows you pretty much where the image cuts off. So there is just an empty void on either side of the image. So yeah, it's really just what size you want. You can play about with how big it is, and you can choose different types of, so the tiling does that kind of thing. So yeah, the one I'm going to go with is extend, and I'm going to put it back the way it was there. So you can do all sorts of things, just get it exactly as you want it. So we're almost there. There's just one more thing I thought I'd bring up. If we go to the other side of the wall, the logo is backwards on this side, and again, there's no reason why you wouldn't really want that. It looks okay, but you know, if you want to do some really specific stuff, and maybe you want to paint over that, you can actually do that. That's fine. We were doing that before with the front view. If you press that button again, the one with the X, it'll take you to the back. And so again, we want to try and line it up evenly. So if you go to edit mode again, this time we want to choose the face select option. That's this one here. And there is a shortcut. If you press 3, it will select that one. So we want the face, and we want to deselect, because at the moment it's selecting everything. Deselect the wall, and then make a selection like this. So now we're only selecting that side. The rest of the wall is not going to be affected, so that's good. Then in the material properties, so we've got this one material property that we're already using. Let me just scroll up a bit. There it is. If you click on this plus button, you'll add another material slot. So we just need a second material. Click on new. Here are the base color settings as before. If I click assign, then it does that. We've now painted over that side of the wall. And anytime you want, you can go to the base color and choose any color you like. It's a Pink Floyd reference. So I think actually for this, I might go with the sort of grey color. Something like that. So a white side and a grey side. Okay, now a few of you might be thinking, well, that's not really what I want to do. What I'd like to do is paint something across the surface of the wall. And you can totally do that. I'm going to now show you about texture painting. And to start, just make sure we've got the right material selected. There's the Pink Floyd one there, so we'll click on that. So you go up to this tab here, texture paint. So here's how texture painting works. You have these two sections. You should see the canvas on the left and your object over here on the right. So let's just zoom out a bit to Let's see what we're doing. And the tools are pretty straightforward, just like most paint tools. Whatever you paint on the canvas here will appear in this section as well, and the reverse is also true. When you paint stuff directly onto the object, it updates it over here, and you get certain different effects depending on which one it is you're working on. But if you remember, I set this to extend. If you try and paint this area here, this happens because of it was set to extend. So you can't really paint the whole thing the way you want it. It's not really going to work, is it? But the way we want to work around that is we're going to make some changes. First, we're going to go back to layout. So click on the layout tab. And I'm just going to redo the UV editing thing. So once again, I'm going to choose the X, the little red X. Then I'm going to go to edit mode again. Right, so it's unselected, so A, that selects all. Press U again. U again. And then where it said project from view, there's another one here, project from view, and in parentheses it says bounds. When you click on that one, it stretches the image. We can now see that that's actually good news, because it means it's making use of the entire surface. So now with the image, we've got to make sure the image is selected. I'll go to UV editing just to show you what's happened to the map now. So like before, the dimensions of the original file have stayed the same. If I go to image and reload, I can get rid of all the paint that I added to it. That's a nice little way to just reset. But so if we zoom into the UV map, these are meant to be all of our bricks, and as you can see, they're squashed together, because we're kind of in opposite world when you go to UV editing, because what appears to be here, it looks like the image has been stretched outward, but what's actually happened is the UV map has been squashed inward. So that basically means we need a much wider canvas, one that meets the same kind of ratio as our wall over there. Okay, it's 80 bricks long. Each brick is 2 by 1. It's 20 bricks high, so it's really just half of 20, 10. 80 divided by 10, 8. There you go. You've worked it out. Brilliant. Go to image up here, then click on new to create the new canvas. I'm going to give it a title. I'm going to call it new wall texture. Right, so next we know that it has to be 8 times wider. That's what that math problem told us. If you add the star and then press 8, so that's multiplied by 8, press enter, then there it is. It's done the sum for you. So that's a nice little thing that it can do. So basically, we want it to be 8,192 pixels wide. So it's not going to be a perfect square. We do not want a perfect square. And I'm going to make it grey. You can have any choice of colour. This is going to be grey. Click OK. Right, so now you can see it's actually, it works a lot better for the UV map. That's an important thing. Another important thing is to save the file, and I'm glad I remembered that because I'm very forgetful. Go to image and save as, and then just save it wherever you might want to. And so we're now ready to add this canvas to the object. So the object is selected. If you go back to the material properties, once again, just make sure that the Pink Floyd material is selected. Now we just want to switch this one, the original, with our new canvas, and you just use this icon here. When you click on that, you get the option to choose the new wall texture. It's right there at the top. Okay, so now it has applied our new canvas. We can go to texture paint, and now we should be able to paint any design. So I'm just going to scribble over it because I don't have any specific ideas, but do whatever you like. Just go mad. If you if you can learn how to make bump maps, you can do some really cool stuff. I would go into that. It's very, there are plenty of tutorials, I'm sure. Yeah, that's all you need to know if you want to make it be a bit more creative and paint your own texture. So have fun, everybody. Thanks for watching, and I am off to the pub.